This is a certified hood classic.
Man, you already know what's coming. Man, you already know what's coming. You already know what's coming, bro. King of the Hill reboot. You already know, man. If you didn't know, now you know. Ho, looking at us, bro. Nah, I'm just talking shit, bro. Everybody that's on the main channel, that's messing with your boy over on the main channel, y'all already know what time it is. Y'all already know what time it is. But look, man, I feel like, man, we just chilling, man. I feel like we just doing a lot of cool videos over here, and you know, we having fun, we turned up, you know what I'm saying, man. I might even have to bring back Taylor Poy Quizzy on this motherfucker. But look, man, today, man, we getting ready to check out How Broke Is Hank, man. How broke is Hank, boy? That boy ain't right, boy. How broke is he, man? Look, do your boy a favor, man. Hit the like button. Go down, let's subscribe to y'all, boy, if you like what we doing. And it's hard out here, bro. It's hard, bro. You know, motherfuckers making changes and shit, bro. We trying to get money, bro.
Okay, you want to know about the family finances?
Hey, my nigga pulled the blinds. You know it's bad when you gotta get dark to talk about money. No, you ain't gonna be happy. Oh no, it's an interrogation. Give me a Pepsi. All right, man.
About everything that a family could reasonably want. But are their finances as clean as a sweet burn of propane? Or are they much better or worse off? Well, let's get into that and talk about just how broke Hank Hill actually is.
Look at him, a pimp.
And I guess consider this your official spoiler warning for a cartoon that ran for 13 years and ended almost a decade ago.
Yeah, but getting that reboot.
And hey, while we're here, comment down below what you'd like to hear me talk about next. It definitely helps the algorithm not hate my channel.
Type shit. I got you. All right.
As is customary when I talk about these kinds of videos on my channel, let's get kind of meta and talk about the show's timeline. Or I guess lack of timeline. King of the Hill operates kind of in between a floating timeline and a more consistent timeline. So while some of the characters do age for the most part, it's not in a consistent way. John Redcorn is 36 in season 5 and 40 in season 9. And Luann ages from 18 to 21 over the course of the series and eventually gets married and has a baby. For our purposes of this video, we'll be treating the entirety of the series as taking place roughly over the course of 4 years, despite any references to whatever pop culture may be taking place during the air date of the episode.
It's one of those things that I think it's one of those things that you just don't think about. Not saying you don't think about it, but it's like, it's one of those things like, oh, okay, does that really make sense? Does that really make sense? Probably not. Like, I think that like what they could have did with the reboot is they could have kept going in here, but then it just wouldn't have made sense. It's good to just kind of make them a little older, but considering how long ago the show has been off the air versus now when they doing a reboot, it kind of could be a safe bet, but then also it's kind of like, man, them niggas might be older than what they project on this new timeline, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a good show, so you let shit like that slide.
Like the Y2K episode. Instead, I'll be splitting the show up by season. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 would be 1997. Seasons 4, 5, and 6 would be 1998. Seasons 7, 8, and 9 would be 1999. And the final 4 seasons, 10, 11, 12, and 13 would be 2000.
Okay.
Now let's get into Hank and a bit of his backstory. Hank was born April 19th, 1953 in New York City to Matilda May and Cotton Hill, a World War II veteran who had lost his shins in battle. In high school, Hank would begin dating Peggy Platter, whom he would later marry, but we'll get to that part in a bit.
High school sweetheart.
Upon his graduation from high school in 1971, Hank would attempt to join the military, but would be ultimately turned down. However, I do believe that upon his graduation, that Hank would probably be kicked out of his house by Cotton, judging by their, we'll call it, less than ideal relationship.
Yeah, he definitely told him to get the hell out, bro.
At this point, we'll have Hank move in with a couple of his friends from high school, Dale Gribble and Boomhauer, and get his first job at Arlen's Jeans West. Let's start with Hank's first job. Hank would likely be working full-time at Arlen's Jeans West and making minimum wage.
Which ain't shit, probably $5 or something back then.
That during his time there, he is making around $1.40 an hour,
my
which
God.
is $2,912 each year before taxes. As for their apartment,
we need that shit a month just to survive nowadays. God. Bro, in 2050, you gonna need $10,000 an hour and shit, bro, just to make it by and shit, bro. You gonna be paying $100,000 a month just to stay in a decent neighborhood and have
I
food.
mean, the New York Times ran an article back in 1973 discussing the median rent for an apartment being $108 a month in the year 1970. We'll round that down to $100 a month and divide that up 3 ways for each of the 3 roommates. Meaning that for his time living with Dale and Boomhauer, that Hank is only paying $33 a month or $396 a year.
Hey, carrots, you're gonna wake the baby. I gotta get to work.
This is important, sir. I think
Call
you're
her ass
$10.
Yeah, they call her ass carrots, bro. I'm hollering.
Now we can get into how we're doing our math. We'll start with Hank's base salary for each year, do some tax math, take off minor yearly expenses like housing payments, car payments, rent, and have him put away 20% of what's left in a bank account. I think that Hank would be pretty consistent with that 20% with what we know about him and his, we'll call it, consistency.
Right. Hank.
We also know that he is good at
that.
creating and sticking to budgets, so that, helps.
Hank's super responsible, bro. That's one thing I can say about bro, is he definitely responsible. He one of those people that if you go and talk to him about some shit, he'll give you some solid advice. It might be square ass advice sometimes. He might be square as hell, but he'll give you some solid advice.
We'll have his bank account gaining an average of 2% interest annually.
Okay.
With that math in mind, we can move forward ahead to 1980. This would be a pretty big year for Hank. Let's start with his professional life. Going into this year, Hank would still be working at Arlen's Jeans West. But a chance encounter in his impeccable salesmanship would lead to him being offered a job by Buck Strickland, owner of Strickland Propane, after Hank sells a pair of jeans. I think that it happens this year for a few different reasons. For starters, during the scene, we hear the song You Make My Dreams by Hall & Oates being played in the mall. This song was, of course, released in the year 1980. We also get another sign pointing towards this season in season 7's episode, The Good Buck. In this episode, a pretty heavily intoxicated Buck mentions that Hank has been working for him for 20 years. According to our timeline, this episode would take place in 1990, with 20 years earlier being 1979.
20 years at a jam job, bro. Like, golly, man. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. But, 20 years, and then considering, I don't fuck with Buck. That nigga Buck a weirdo. Any nigga named Buck is a weirdo. I'm sorry. If your name is Buck, I'm sorry. But these niggas ruined it for you. They did. He is a freak. That nigga is a freak. The nigga from Kill Bill, my name's Buck, and I came to fuck. That nigga's a weirdo too. Touching bodies. Look, at the end of the day, if your name is Buck, you're a freak. I didn't make it up. The world did. And here's the thing. I just feel like, God damn, Hank, all this damn time, bro, you could just have your own shit at this point,
Which is pretty dang close. If you ask someone who worked somewhere for 19 years how long they worked at a place, they'd probably just say 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
A propane manager today can make around $56,000. Yeah, but as we know, Hank is not actually a manager. Rather, he's an assistant manager.
Which is fucked
This is
up.
most likely a way for Buck to get away with paying Hank less, who's mostly in it for his love of propane and propane accessories.
Right.
For this reason, we'll reduce Hank's salary from what it could be down to the equivalent of $45,000 each year. And of course, we'll be adjusting that number each and every year for inflation. And one final note for Hank's salary, he does get a $1,000 bonus every year, which we will also be factoring in.
Shit, that ain't even shit, bro. Come on. But
Still in 1980, let's move on to Hank's personal life.
That's 19.
I'll have this be the year that Hank and Peggy get married. We don't have any exact years on this throughout the series, so this is kind of my best guess.
Look at them handshake at
In a photo we see from Hank and Peggy's wedding, Bill is obviously starting to bald. This would put it a little further away from when they were all in high school, considering how much hair Bill had at that point.
Right, that
would also assume that Hank would want to have a more stable and reliable job before marrying Peggy. With his recent upgrade in salary and a new position at Strickland Propane, this would be the perfect time for Hank to pop the question.
Right.
Which means that as of this year, we can start taking Peggy's salary into account as well. Peggy, for the bulk of the series, operates as a substitute teacher. Today, she'd be making around $26,000, which will adjust for inflation for each year that she's working.
Right, okay.
As for expenses, the two of them would pay for a wedding this year. An average wedding in Dallas cost $28,810 today, or $9,351.72 back in 1980. But that's in Dallas, and while that's close to Arlen, it would be much, much cheaper to throw a wedding in a smaller town rather than a major city.
And we got to think about who we talking about. We talking about Hank Hill and Peggy Hill. they gonna do a nice wedding. You still got cake, you still got dresses, you still got the event space, you still got the catering, you still got a whole bunch of stuff that every wedding or function would have, right? But at the same time, you know they not going all out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Peggy might spike it up a little bit. I can see Peggy spiking it up. Honey, we're on a budget. Battery head ass nigga, man. But at the same time, I could just see that maybe Peggy might spike it up a little bit, but at the end of the day, they still not going out doing crazy shit. People spending more money nowadays to go to prom. Niggas renting elephants. They brought Tupac, a hologram there. Took the bitch to the date, to a prom, bro. I'm telling you. Nigga, they did a reanimation jutsu, then brought niggas back from the dead to go to prom. These days, this shit is expensive, bro.
For that reason, we'll drop the cost of what the wedding would be back to $5,000 in 1980. Finally this year, Hank and Peggy would move in together following their marriage. I don't think that they would while they were still dating because of how deeply religious Hank and Peggy both are. We'll continue on with our rent the same way, but have them take over the majority of the rent, which at this time comes out to $1,296 per year.
Imagine being able to build anything just by
No,
thinking
nigga.
about it. Meet Base 44.
A few years later, Hank and Peggy would buy their vehicles that we see them driving for the majority of the series.
That's a nice
Hank
truck.
is said later in the series to have been driving his truck for 20 years, though the specific type of truck didn't actually exist until 1983.
Okay.
So for that reason, I'll be having him buy his truck that year. New, a 1983 Ford F-150 could go for $9,000. We'll have Hank put $1,000 down and pay the rest off over the next few years. As for Peggy's car, her Buick could go for around $8,000.
I forgot
We'll have
Peggy
them put
had a car.
$500 down for Peggy's car and have him pay that off for the next few years as well. They'll be spending $3,996 per year until the vehicles are paid off. In 1985, Hank would have a couple more major
Not
life
that
changes. For starters, this would be the year that Hank would overcome his narrow urethra and he and Peggy would have their only child, Bobby Hill.
Nice.
We'll
And
be
that's
having Hank and Peggy spend the
That's a lot. Having children, that's a lot of money right there,
equivalent
boy.
of $5,000 each year on Bobby.
At
I think that
least.
this would also be the year where Hank and Peggy buy their home. We know that they buy their home in the mid to late 80s, so 1985 and having it correspond to Bobby's birth makes sense.
Okay.
Their home has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a garage, an attic, and a few other minor rooms.
Not
A similar
bad.
house
Not
can go-
bad. Let me look at this real quick. Just real quick. All right. So what I'm covering up right now is the garage. All right. Then you got Peggy's office, aka the janitor's closet. All right. So you got family bath, master bath. It was smart to put that on opposite sides. Master bedroom, and then Bobby's room. The den. Okay. So the den is really dope because that's where Leanne stay. And even though it's a smaller bedroom, they really, yeah, like you said, you got really a 3-bed and then a dining room though. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, this is a really, really good house. It don't have a basement. I think a basement would have really set this bitch off though. Like if they had all of this shit right here, 2-bed, 3-bath house, a backyard, a front yard. You could pull in the front, you could pull in the back, garage, and then basement in that bitch. Damn, because that basement would have set it off, bro.
Go for around
But it's still good.
$235,000.
Ooh, that's
But
like
this was back in
500,000.
1985, and homes were a good bit cheaper than they are today.
It was like 500,000
Homes in 1985 cost around
today.
40.65% of what they cost today. That means
no.
that his home would have cost $95,527.05, which will round up to $96,000.
Okay, that was how much that was
In the
today.
episode of Rich Hank, Poor Hank, we see that Hank is paying $745.83 a month, or $8,949.96 a year.
Okay.
If Hank were going to take out a 15-year loan, in order to
$700
have
a month?
monthly payments similar to that, he would need to put down $18,700,
Damn.
which is actually a little less than 20%. And that actually seems pretty likely. So we'll have
Got that
Hank
dough.
and Peggy paying nearly $9,000 a year for the next 15 years until 2000. But more on that in a bit.
Okay.
Coming out of 1985, Hank would have $691.71.
Okay,
At this
all
point,
right,
we can
bet.
kind of fast
That ain't
forward
that
through to
bad.
the beginning of the series, 1997. This is
All
when
right.
Luann, Hank and Peggy's niece, moves in with the
Oh,
family.
Yeah.
For this reason, we'll be adding
her big head ass boy titties. Stop. But no, I'm saying, yeah, another mouth to feed, definitely more
An
money.
extra $3,000 onto what the Hills are paying for children each year, despite the fact that Luann isn't exactly a child.
Yeah.
Next year, Hank's
as well
truck,
be.
on its last legs, would be hit by a train and destroyed. Hank then replaces his truck with yet another red truck.
Right.
We'll estimate that his
Newer
second
red
truck is worth $10,000. We'll have him put
This one a
$2,000
Ford.
down and pay the rest off over the next several years, with him paying $2,208 a year until the car is fully paid off. This leads us to a bit of a continuity error. In another episode, we hear that a car salesman had sold Hank many overpriced cars throughout the years, despite the fact that he's had the same truck for years. We'll just kind of ignore that for the sake of this video.
Right.
In 1999, Bobby would overhear
Because maybe it's not selling him the cars. Maybe he brought other people to the car salesman. Because, you know, if you got somebody that you bought a car from and you had a good experience, or what you think it is a good experience, then you most likely will go back and you tell people, oh, yeah, well, so where you get your car from? I got my car from so-and-so and so-and-so. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Here's parents
I can
talking
see
about
that.
Hank's bonus check from Strickland Propane and believe that that's what Hank makes a day. That leads Bobby to spending a bunch of money on things like clothes, a limo, and even a jet ski. Hank pays off everything that Bobby buys aside from the jet ski. A higher end jet ski can go for close to $20,000. We'll be estimating that Bobby spent around half of that, so $10,000, with any money that Hank would have made from selling the jet ski just going to paying it off. So we'll just have
You getting your ass
Hank
whooped.
spending $4,000 this year. Finally, in 2000, Peggy would be fired from her position as a substitute teacher. She eventually finds work as a real estate
spoilers!
agent. We'll estimate her salary at the equivalent of $50,000, which is a little below the national average. This is to
bad.
try and account for Arlen most likely having a below average real estate market.
Right.
And that's where we'll end our math at the end of the series.
All right, bet.
By this point, Hank would have $70,695.69 in his bank account.
Oh,
His home, which was very recently paid off, would be worth
$70,000,
$149,671.
and he could still pull the equity out that motherfucker, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So he might be able to pull the whole. Well, maybe let's say he can at least pull a good 100,000 out, bro.
5 cents. This means that Hank Hill, simple propane salesman, is worth $220,367.18, which is actually a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it is.
But anyways, this has been 10K Bill, and thanks for watching. Comment down
much is
below
the
what you'd like
white
to hear me
word?
talk about next. Follow me on Twitter at 10K Bill. Support us on our Patreon.
Bet. All right, ugly ass boy. Hey, man, shout out to my boy, man. Hank doing a lot better than I thought, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That man is paid. That boy is paid, living in the shade, bro, with lemonade. I ain't got it. I'm trying to get. I need it. Can you hit the like, please?